Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, to Game 2 between Team Liquid and Viking.gg. We saw Team Liquid take that first game in a pretty dominant fashion. Just Viking just could not make much magic happen at all, despite how farm Shad was. So we'll see if they're able to perform a little bit better in this second game and maybe just get out of their own heads, reset a little bit, and not get distracted by that game one. We'll see what they're able to do. So this time, they take away the Oracle. Just Insane was doing such a good job on that position 5 support. Just every single time that the side of Viking initiated onto anyone, if it was Koifer or even Boxy, just he was always there with those false promises, saves them, puts them back up to full HP, and then the fight just gets completely countered. So they will take that option away. Meanwhile, Liquid, they take away the Faceless Void and the Lifestealer. So just heavily focusing down the hero pool of Shad. And then they take away the Lifestealer. So sometimes when you see that pick taken away, you may think that Liquid, they might potentially grab a first pick of the Mars, purely for the Lifestealer, as we all know. Pop that Rage and completely counter the spear that comes up for the Mars, or just walk straight through the arena. So see if that's potentially what they're thinking about doing. They do like to put it into the hands of Boxy as well. He does play it quite nicely. Even Tiger plays the Phoenix as well, which is a nice combo. But they're actually going to first pick the Rubik. Also an opener, which they do like to do. Most likely going to be an Insania Rubik. Pretty much every other team always runs the Rubik as a position 4. They like to have him a little bit greedier, get a couple of items online, but Insania doesn't need it. Does not need the farm. He's able to be so damn impactful with this Rubik, no matter how much farm he actually has. So I can have to be a little bit scary this. See what their potential opener is going to be. They may even go for the Mars themselves, potentially, and then use that Liquid ban to their advantage. They're actually just going to grab the Lina. It was a hero that got banned out in the previous game instead of the Lifestealer, so they're going to snap that up as fast as they can. Could be on the Aramis, could be on Boom for the mid. It's a flexible pick, even though it is quite an early one. You probably will see that in the more position support role, but there is the potential for it to move around. But Liquid, they're actually going to snap up the Lone Druid. I mean, as it wasn't banned out this time, Viking prioritising the IO and the Oracle bans instead. So the Lone Druid goes through and it gets snapped up immediately from Liquid. It's going to be in the hands of Koifer, so everyone knows that it's a real scary thing to go up against. Man's a beast on this hero. They respond with the Slardar. So the Slardar will be obviously the offlaner going up against the Lone Druid. So he'll be able to apply a bit of pressure onto this bear, maybe get it quite low. Especially if this lane is going to end up being in the hands of Aramis. They might potentially be able to lock the bear down and get a few kills on it in the early portions of the game. I mean, sure, it's not like killing the hero, but even still, it's a large portion of gold that does go into your hands, as well as slowing down the farming speed of the Lone Druid. So it could potentially be quite a nice lane for them. We'll see if maybe Liquid might swap things around. Maybe potentially put the Lone Druid into the off lane and maybe run that as an aggressive off lane for him. And then maybe move whatever hero they're going to grab for Boxy, put that into their safe lane. We'll have to wait and see. Well, I can take away the snap for her. That is a hero that they do tend to run, put it in the hands of Mickey, put that in the mid lane when they do have that Lone Druid. So what we'll from then, they take that out of the pool. We'll see what the first pick will be on the Viking side. See if they're just going to grab their position 1 perhaps, or go for their first support. It will probably be the position 5 pickup that they'll need. And that will completely depend on what sort of position 1 hero they're planning on going for. Solaire is relatively flexible, but he is quite a defensive style hero, player, sorry. We could potentially see something like the Enchantress, maybe even a Shen. Liquid actually take the Shen out of the pool. Could potentially see a Morphlin this game for the side of Liquid. It's quite nice to be able to turn into even Slardar or Lina, both of them having stuns available that he would be able to use to his advantage. As well as utilising the sprint that comes out from the Slardar. Does the Fiery Souls follow on when you turn into, say if you turn into the Lina as a Morphlin and you get the Fiery Soul stacks, then you turn back into the Morphlin? Well, does the Fiery Soul stay on you? I'm not sure actually. Maybe it's a mechanic we might see if the Morphlin gets picked up. But Viking, they do grab that Enchantress, which will be for the Solaire in the safe lane. So he's a little bit more of a defensive style hero, so might see them grab something like the Spectre. Even be able to get involved on the ganks that the Slardar will eventually be thrown out. But Liquid, they're going to grab the Earthshaker, so that's going to be in the hands of Tiger. And he does like to roam around quite a lot in the early portions with this hero, so we'll probably see quite a defensive offlaner for Liquid. Well, I say defensive, but just durable. Someone who can... doesn't really get threatened too bad. The Enchantress does a pretty good job against him with the Impetus, goes straight through that armor protection. So might not see a Timbersaw again. There is still a Mars in the pool. The Mars can pin people to the Fissure of the Earthshaker, as well as not do too badly when he's solo. It all sort of depends on what the position 1 from the Viking is actually end up being. If it's something like an anti-mage, you will struggle a little bit, perhaps. So Viking do go for that Spectre. So the Mars doesn't worry too much about a Spectre, can even do quite a good job at harassing him in the lane, but he would struggle from the harass that will come out from the Enchantress. Unless, of course, Liquid go for that Doom play. I don't think Boxy really plays Doom that much, but, I mean, with the Doom, as soon as the Enchantress comes near you, just gobble up that creep. And it really halts the amount of harass that she can actually throw out, so we'll have to wait and see. Hey, you can even see something like an Axe. Nah, Axe doesn't... Nah, I probably won't see an Axe. I should go for the Dragon Knight. Okay, so is this... So this will be a boxy Dragon Knight then, I imagine. I don't see Mickey playing that for the mid lane. So I think it's still mid laners left for both teams. I mean, there is the potential for Mickey to take this DK into the mid lane, but it's not really his MO. I think I'd still be happy to see Mickey take the Morphlin and play that in the mid lane. I think that could still work. But for Viking, what do they need? Someone who can quickly get on top of this lone druid and try and either get him disabled before he can activate his true form to really make sure he drops quickly. I mean, Liquid, they take away the Storm Spirit. Would have been a good hero to do that exact thing. There is the potential for Viking to take the Queen of Pain again. It didn't really work too well in the previous game, but I think it still would have been alright. Viking actually ban out the Bat Rider. It could have been a good pick for themselves, but Liquid do have the first choice. So maybe they feared playing against it too much to really worry about playing with it. Maybe Mickey might go for something like the Ember Spirit and play that in the mid lane. This hero, which doesn't take too long to actually come online, does a lot of work with just levels. Doesn't need a huge amount of items in his arsenal to really ramp him up that much. So I think it'll be an Ember Spirit or a Morphlin that'll be coming out for Mickey in the mid. But for Viking, like I said, they sort of need someone who can jump. You can get on top of this lone druid relatively easy. That would be the best thing for them. There's not really much in the pool to go off. They could potentially go for something like an Invoker, perhaps. Maybe. I don't know. It's quite troubling for Vikings' next grab. They actually go for a gyro, so it's most likely going to be a mid gyro, unless they're going to put Koifer in the mid lane. He does tend to play the lone druid as the safe lane hero, but potentially they might mix it up. Maybe they're just going to wait and see what Vikings' last pick is. Down to the wire, using all their reserve time to really think about this. So they're actually going to go for a Shadow Demon. So it's going to be, so we'll be Lina in the mid lane then. So they're going to put this as a core Lina. Pos 4 on the Shadow Demon. Boxy, Toby will be taking the Slardar. So it is Mickey on the gyro. So all the picks on the side of Liquid, also on what roles you would expect them to be on. But it's still just a little bit unsure about what lanes they're going to be playing in. It's the only thing. Where if they are going to put Mickey in the mid on that gyro, going up against the Lina, or if they're going to try and put Koifer there instead. Might be a little bit more difficult for the lone druid in the mid lane, purely the fact that Lina will be able to put out a lot of magical damage onto that bear and maybe get a few early kills onto it. So I have to see what they prioritise. I think they tend to make sure that this lone druid has a really nice start. So they probably will keep the Koifer in the safe lane. And Insane are doing this, but well, even still actually no, because the lone druid doesn't really do too great up against the Slardar. The Shadow Demon would be some nice food for him, like but even still. Quite a difficult choice. But going off these lineups, I think I'm not too sure. It all depends on how the offlane goes for Viking. If Toby and Aramis are actually able to shut down Koifer quite well, I like their lineup, but I don't know. I think Koifer will still manage to find bit of farm across this map, so I think I am preferring Liquid's lineup here. But hey, no. You know, casters have been wrong. I'm not exactly the best analysis in the world, so don't quote me on these things. But here we go. Game 2 between Viking.gg and Team Liquid. We'll see what Viking's able to put out of the bag to try and make sure they're not just 2 games down and have to try and win 3 in a row. That's definitely a really soul-crushing thing to go up against. Forced to either win 3 in a row or just lose altogether.
Like stealing candy from a baby.
I'm no longer living, baby. Goddamn voice chats. It's just so overwhelming. So it will be Mickey in the mid lane. So this is how they're going to roll around. We'll see how Mickey's able to farm up against this Lina. I mean, the Lina likes to keep her distance as much as possible. So Mickey's probably going to struggle a little bit to try and get much use out of the barrage. Who knows, he might pull some Strix out the bag. Going to go for that max rocket, max flak build. 0 points into rocket barrage. I mean, I don't know. It sounds like it would be pretty bad, to be honest. With the bounties, looks like Insania and Koifu are going to be able to snag the top one. Meanwhile, down bottom, Sleri tried grabbing the third one down the bot lane, but the nice stun comes out there from Tiger just in time and lets Boxy grab it and run away. It only takes a little chunk of damage. He doesn't have any HP regen. He's going to solely rely on Dragon's Blood to keep him sustained in this lane. I mean, it is 4 HP regen to start off with, and 3 armor. But even still, if Viking realise this, they might be able to just prioritise quite a lot of harassment time going onto Boxy, and it might make him struggle in this lane a little bit. So Boxy took the Great Bash as his first skill. You can try and prioritise as much as he possibly can onto the bear. He gets a lucky root though. Toby takes a bit of damage. I think if there was level 2 on Liquid, they might have been able to try and go for a kill, lifting him back in towards the creep wave. Insania, man, where's your stick? You're playing up against the Shadow Demon, you need a stick, bro. So much mana. Toby getting a little bit aggressive there, but he's still not level 2. Perhaps if it was level 2, they might have tried to make a move on to Insania there, but not quite enough yet to bring him down. Meanwhile in the mid, CS is pretty even. 7-0 to the 7-0 again. And there's even the same amount of creeps available, but Tiger's already rotated around. They get the stun onto Boom. But no follow-up damage just as yet. Mickey still holding his second skill point. He will actually eventually go for the 2 points into the rocket barrage. So he's gonna attempt to try and get on top of Boom as much as he can. Meanwhile, down bottom, Sleri and Shad actually get the first blood grab onto Boxy. Maybe the no HP regen has come back to bite him in the ass. Oh, meanwhile in the mid, Jesus, I missed another one. Boom ends up going down to Mickey and Tiger. Tiger just becoming that Fisher bot, just roaming around the map, not really achieving too much for the bot lane, but hey, nabs a kill for the mid. Now we'll start to see Mickey start snowballing this mid lane now. It is only early on, so it's not going to be like a huge XP difference between the two. About half a level. Not insurmountable by any means. You know, at the top, Koifu is nearly level 3, so we're going to see it will be a slight power spike for that bear. He's actually holding this third point. I would have thought he would just immediately chucked it into the bear, but shows something else. Tiger, he's still hanging around the mid, thinking of potentially making another move onto Boom. But Boom is just playing super safe. He does not want to leave this tower at all. Down bottom, Boxy. He's finally bought some tangos, so he's going to be able to sustain himself a little bit more in this lane. There should be 2 points in Dragon's Blood now. We do see Koif at the top of that CS chart. Despite the fact that he's up against the Slard though, he's able to harass out the bear quite a bit. He's still doing a really good damn job with these last hits. He hasn't got any denies, but I don't think he cares about that. So Insania comes out with the stun onto Aramis. Unfortunately, there's no root from the bear. He even gets stunned out now with the Disruption Ends coming up from Toby. And the Great Bash, Jesus, that was a lot of damage. The Rubik just disappears. That was a greater bash, that's for sure. You're on the mid. Looks like Solari's rotated around, trying to lend a little bit of assistance for Boom. Not even hanging around. He's got the... Grabbed an invis room. They're going to try and make a move onto Mickey now. Even the LSA connects with the Dragon Slave on top. All the Verifier comes up just in time, but unfortunately it's still not enough, and he will end up falling. Tiger had already left the lane quite a while ago, and he couldn't afford to rotate back up the top. But it looks like Toby, though, he's going to end up getting caught out. He's getting super low. He's only 1 hit away. He's so damn close to dying, but they can't quite find him. Finally, they will see him, and Tiger gets the last hit with that Fisher. Super long range. Just enough to bring him down. Tiger's got a lot of poison stacks on him now. It is 4. It is level 2 poison. Not enough, though, to actually kill him off. If he had 5 stacks, Tiger would have been dead there. But luckily, he was just out of range. Boom. Managing to fill up his bottle with the bounty there. Meanwhile, down bottom, Solari actually finds both the bounties. So it ends up being 3 for 1, favouring Viking. And he's even rotating around behind the creep wave. Maybe thinking about making a move on to Mickey. Tomato goes with the clap, but there's no follow-up close enough to try and bring him down. Meanwhile, Aramis, he finds Tiger, and that's an easy LSA setup. And he just falls. Nothing he can do to survive that situation. Viking, they're keeping 3 heroes in this mid lane. I'm not quite sure what they want to accomplish from this. I don't know if they want to try and carry on pressuring the tower or not, but it just seems like they're here just to soak up a lot of Boom's XP. He is now 6 though, so he's going to have that Laguna Blade available. Mickey's close to his 6, he just needs 1 more creep. 2 more creeps, sorry. He will have his 6 available. Even Insanius in the mid lane now, maybe thinking some sort of shenanigans was going to happen. But no team actually wants to commit to anything. Hero up top. It's just now Koifu and Toby in a 1v1. Boom's actually taken over top of the CS chart, but even still, Koifu's having a pretty free lane down free lane up top. Shad having a pretty equal free time down bottom though. Got pretty similar CS, more denies even, so Boxy definitely struggling on the XP front. He's soon to be his level 6, but he's getting pressured so much that he's not even really going to be able to make much use out of this first dragon form. He's just so far away from the tower. He's holding the point. He might not even bother taking it, to be honest. Thinking about what he wants to try and prioritise. Maybe just going to go for a second point into the Dragon's Breath instead. And Tiger finding the cheeky grab onto Boom's curry there. Goes to the TP out to make sure he's safe. How on earth do you pronounce that bear's name? Michael Vu? Michael Vu? Or is it Michel Vu? Who knows? Very weird that it's got Vu in the end. Meanwhile, Solari getting harassed a little bit. No roots coming out from the bear though to hold him in place. No slowing on Koiva. Boom's rotating around. If he can keep Koiva in place here, he goes for the true form. The will make him a little bit more tanky, but nice throw back from Insania. Trying to keep Koiva alive, but the Laguna Blade stabs him in the back. Down goes the bear man. There's nothing that Michel Vu can do to make him survive there. Meanwhile, in the mid, Shaddy, Spectral Haunts in there, nearly getting a kill onto Mickey. But luckily, Tiger was close by to lend a little helping hand and keeps him alive. But boom, though, he's activating Invis. He's going to see Mickey. Connects with the LSA. Almost land onto the both of them. And not that it matters. Aramis is going to control up Tiger as well with the disruption. Stunning them both up. But Shad actually gets the last hit there with Spectral Dagger. Just come flying in for the last hit. There are 2 quick kills. Going towards Viking. That's just going to set him up to take this tier 1 tower away. No commitment from the side of Liquid to try and reinforce this. Meanwhile, up top, Soleri and Toby. They've got a big creep wave. They're going to be able to pressure this tier 1 as well. The glyph does come out just to stall this. But again, there's just no one from Liquid nearby to try and make some sort of defensive play happen. Koifer's just moved into the jungle now. He still doesn't actually have his bear for another 20 seconds. It's really hindering his farming speed now. Even still, Insania making insane stacks. Fortunately, he's only got level 1 of the black cannon, so he only gets 2 attacks out of it. So it's definitely not the fastest at taking up these creep stacks, but he will get him eventually. Soleri does spot this out. He's coming over to try and steal some of these CS. He gets the 1. He'll actually get the 2nd as well. See if he's ended up gets the 3rd. He even snacks away the 3rd. So all 3 of the big creeps actually get stolen away by Soleri. And that pushes him up to his level 6 as well. So lovely little play there by him. Just hindering the farm from this Gyro as much as possible. He's already 6th on the net worth chart. So he's definitely struggling. Ooh, meanwhile, down the bottom, Boom and Aramis, they actually get the kill onto Boxy. Mickey's rotating around here. They will drop the cooldown onto Boom with the missile committing. And he will fall. So they do get something at last. They get a decent profile kill. Give it a 4 kill streak as well on Boom that falls to Mickey. A little bit of bonus gold. But even still, the Gyro is a full 1,000 gold behind that of Boom. Boom, build towards the Dual Scepter, only about 400 gold, no, 200 gold away. So he's going to have that online pretty soon. He's going to be able to set up those LSAs pretty damn easily. Well, the farm on Shad, he's got his Blade Mail online. Working towards that Manta Star was his next item. Pretty much the only status effect to purge off is the route that will come out from the bear. And maybe he can do like a sick Manta dodge on the missile that will be coming out from the Gyrocopter perhaps. So we'll have to see how that ends up panning out for him. Meanwhile, it's 4 heroes from Liquid all gathered up around this tier 1 bottom. Maybe expecting someone from the side of Viking to rotate around here and defend this. But it's just Aramis all on his own, throwing out these shadow poisons. It's really going to be delaying this push. Boxy commits the Dragonfall. Even still, there's no creep wave because Aramis is doing a pretty good job of just spamming out the shadow poison. Unfortunately, that whole rotation with the Silent Liquids ends up getting countered. Meanwhile, Viking, Boom and Slayer, they rotate around here with the help of the smoke. They get the grab onto Boxy, they commit the Gunda Blade. Boxy's still alive, but he's getting super late. Will actually eventually fall. Aramis gets the final hit with those poison stacks. The Dual Scepter dodges the rocket that comes out from Mickey. And unfortunately, Liquid, they're not able to find anything in return. So Boxy just ends up falling again. His game's looking pretty rough now. It's his 3rd death. And so far, he's only got a Soul Ring and his Power Treads online. He's queued up the Blink Dagger as his next item, but he's still about 1,700 gold away. Even Blink Dagger now online for Toby, so it's going to be real easy for this Slardar to find someone out of position and try and punish him. It's a good way to get on top of Koifer before he can pop his true form and hopefully bring him down. He's only got 900 HP and 4 armor. So with that Corrosive Haze, how much is the level 1? So he'd have minus 10 armor on that, so Koifer will fall down to minus 6 armor. He'll actually be taking bonus damage, which is pretty damn scary to go up against. It looks like Liquid, once again, they've rotated 4 heroes down here. They will find Aramis. Even Shad comes in with the Spectral Horn. They're focusing down as much as they can onto Aramis, but he does the defensive disruption. Meanwhile, Tiger gets caught in the background. He falls. Mickey trying to stand his ground behind the tier 1 tower, but there's just way too many heroes with Viking here. He's going to drop as well. Insaneness gets caught out by the NSA from Boom. Boxy's trying to survive, but the Guna Blade comes out, and the entirety of Liquid just gets completely wiped from the map. It's just Koifa survives, and that's purely because he's not even there. He just retreats to the opposite side of the map completely to where all that went down to try and ramp up his farm, but lovely movements there by Viking. You know, a lot of people would just probably let their position 5 fall, like, you know, we're all farming other sides of the map. Let them take the tier 1 tower, but the entirety of Viking, they all come down there, they show their face, and they take a real dominant fight there. Aramis doesn't even end up falling at all. You know it's looking pretty rough for your team when you can't find a Shadow Demon who only has arcane boots. Boom, going for those bots as the second item. Only about 700 gold away, 500 gold. What's 2,200 for the recipe of the bots? Never mind. Just shows my Doto knowledge. Oh, insane it. We get spotted out. Tries to go for a cheeky TP out there, but that's not going to happen in a million years. Not with the Yule Scepter on the line for Boom. Tries to stand his ground by stealing the LSA, but this is way too much damage from this laner at this point. So there's a lot of weight on Koifa's shoulders to try and carry his team back into this game. He's got the Mask of Madness and the Blightstone act currently online on the Bear. We'll see what he's going to go for his second item. Maybe potentially see something like the Mjolnir. Maybe he feels like he might need to go for a Basher to try and lock people down. I mean, they've got quite a lot of stuns, actually. They've got Dragon Tail, all the stuns from the Earthshaker, the Missile, the Lift, and the Rubik, and whatever stun he steals. So they're quite fine on controlling, so you might not bother going for the Basher just yet. He just needs to focus on damage, because that's really what they're lacking. They just can't bring down anyone on the side of Viking quick enough before the rest of the team comes in for support. So we probably will see that Mjolnir, or even a MKB potentially, or even Big Brain plays. You're going to see that Silver Edge on the Bear, just to try and take away the dispersion on the Shad. But I mean, even though Shad will be a problem eventually, he's not even the biggest problem now. The key targets are Boom and Toby. They're the ones doing the most work for their team at the moment. The whole Viking, they're just going to get a free Roshan. No one on the side of Liquid wanting to come over, even though they had really great vision around this area. A ward above and below Roshan, they just don't feel ready quite to commit. So, Liquid, they really need to find a pick. They spot Toby. He's actually all alone at the moment for his team, but it's going to be right next to a tier 1. It's going to be so easy for the Viking to respond to any sort of movement around this area. But there is now a Blink Dagger available on Tiger. It's coming on the Courier. Boom actually DCs. That's the only problem because of the whole Corona thing regarding Dota. I mean, it's fortunate for esports purely for the fact that, you know, you can play all the games online. That is the one key benefit over like real life sports. But of course, with all these teams, all these players live across the world, all different regions. Despite the fact they are all EU situated, it does just mean that sometimes you get a few connection problems, which does suck because it can sort of swing the balance in some team fights, especially if they get unlucky when lag does decide to show its ugly face. But even still, Viking, they're looking pretty comfortable at this portion of the game. There's an item coming up for Lina. Or she just got 16 gold. Is this even showing the right hero? No, it's not. I suppose it's not showing the money on Boom, maybe because he's actually DC'd, so it's not registering him as actually still being there. But it shows me his inventory, but it's not showing me his gold value. That's really bizarre. But it looks like Koifa, he's actually going for that Desolator as his first item. Maybe just going to try and do some rat Dota across the map and try and take a few towers as much as he can while the rest of Liquid are distracting him perhaps. It will also help him bring down a few of these heroes, but it's definitely a little bit more value on just trying to focus down buildings. Corrosive Haze actually stolen for Insania. So they might be able to find a quick pick off for this. It will be a good way to ramp up their damage. We are in the mid. We might potentially want to try and make a jump onto Koifa. Boom, TPing in. Liquid do really need time and they fall back. Even though they've done a smoke up on the two supports. Might potentially be trying to look for some sort of counterplay here. They need to be careful because everyone on Vikings also buy their tier 1. Pop the smoke of their own. They're going to hunt forwards. Toby's just charging straight for Mickey. Jump forward. What happened then? That must have been lag. Oh, that was rough. That must have been lag because he sort of like stuttered a little bit and then went for his crush. That's quite unfortunate. I bet Toby's a bit mad about that. I know I certainly would be. That could be a really nice pick-off. So very fortunate there for Liquid. Mickey manages to stay alive one more time. He needs everything he can get. It seems how he is 2,500 gold behind Boom and Shad. He needs something to try and bring himself back into this game. Liquid, they're charging forwards. They will actually find a grab onto Aramis. Dragon Form with the stun there. Boom's already round. While he's invis, he gets the easy LSA connection onto Mickey. He even commits to the Goon Blade. Not enough to finish him. Meanwhile, Toby comes in. He's trying to bring him down as much as possible. Aramis finally dies. But everyone on Liquid trying to focus their damage now onto Toby. He's dropping quite low. He even taking quite a bit of damage. Finally, the first life falls for Boom. He will drop. He's going to come back pretty quickly, but Toby's already dropped. It looks like Viking, they may just need to retreat. Even though Aramis has bought back, it's still a risky 4-on-5 situation. Liquid, though, they're charging forwards. They get another stun onto Aramis, but they can find him here. It will be a dieback, and that's going to be pretty damn brutal. Buyback, though, from Toby. He wants to try and get involved. Trying to set up for a nice Fisher, but Toby finally comes in there with stun, locking Tiger down. He's going to end up dropping. There's not enough in the tank to save him. Chad's charging forward, trying to find Mickey, hitting onto as much as possible. The fear comes out for Koifa. He's going to force him back. But Boom, he manages to connect him with the Evil Scepter. He's holding him in place. But Boxy's stunning him up. He's managed to hold him in place for long enough. Mickey will finally fall, but Boom also trading his life away. Boxy's now left completely on his own. He needs to end up falling. Toby's on the hunt. He will find Insania. Will he manage to get the stun in time? He just manages to get the reach. And Insania falls as well. So it ends up being 4 deaths for the side of Liquid. It was 2 buybacks on the side of Viking, but at least none of them died again afterwards. So it ends up being a 3 for 4. But with those 2 buybacks, it doesn't really change the board state a whole great much. It's only a 200 gold swing for Viking and a slight XP bonus. But even still, it's the fact that all 4 of those heroes for Liquid are all off the map, so they can't carry on farming. Meanwhile, a large majority of the Viking heroes are still here, able to just carry on extending that gold lead further. Up to 7k now, favouring Viking. It started off quite well there for Liquid. They got the first kill onto Boom, they got the kill onto Toby, and even a kill onto Aramis. But they got a little bit greedy, they carried on pushing forward, so maybe they should have just gone back and accepted the advantage that they had. But sometimes, you know, in Dota, you just get tunnel vision, you're like, more. It ends up biting you ass sometimes, and unfortunately that is what happens for Liquid. The Viking, really well played, managed to capitalise on that entire situation. Liquid, they're after something else though. They've already popped another smoke. Boxy leading the charge. Looks like maybe they're just going to set up around this tier 1, waiting for Koifa to push it in. Shad is actually going to reveal himself. And there's no one from Viking immediately. Well, Aramis is there behind him to do a save if he is needed. But even still, Shad needs to be careful. Position himself quite dominantly in this front line. So Boxy, with the Dragon Form, charges forward, gets the stun onto Aramis. LSA comes out, but only hits onto the bear. Collector with a cooldown, doing a lot of damage. Relocate comes in there from Shad, trying to focus on Tiger's much more. The lovely Echo Slam comes out on Toby. He's not enough to finish him off. He will actually be able to run away. Shad still trying to stand his ground against everyone. LSA drops again, but only still collect onto the bear. They're all going to focus it down. The bear just gets dropped so quickly. It's getting really low. He's able just to be able to run away and survive. Only one more hit and he's going to fall. Meanwhile, boom, he actually manages to catch out Mickey with the All Scepter, with the LSA setup. And Mickey will fall as well, so it ends up being a 3-for-1. Heavily favouring Viking so far. Toby still keeping the charge forwards. He gets a grab onto Insania. Insania throws him back, but he doesn't get the stun connection onto Shad. So it's another 4 kills going towards Viking. They only lose Aramis. This is really starting to look super rough now for the side of Liquid. They didn't find anything in that fight at all. Viking heavily in the driving seat now. Creep wave pushing in the mid lane. They might potentially try and put a little bit of damage onto this tier 2. There is a glyph available though. So it looks like they're all just going to prioritise splitting up once more, farming up, getting the next few items online. And just keep furthering this gold lead more and more. I mean, this Midcase has had not the ideal game at all so far. He's 5,000 gold behind Shad. He's working for his BKB, it's his first big item, but he's still 1,000 gold away from that. Meanwhile, Koifer. Oh, he's still not got his bear, but I think all he has is his Desolator and a Mask of Madness still online for the bear. He's got 1,600 gold in his back pocket. He's still not queued anything up just yet. I'm pretty sure it's just the Desolator on the bear. Yeah, Desolator and Mask of Madness. That's definitely not what you need at this point in the game. You'd expect a lone Druid to be pretty damn fat. But even he's 3k gold behind Shad himself. Toby only 300 gold now, finished up his own BKB. Going to be even more difficult for Liquid to try and escape him. They do have a lot of lockdowns, so maybe if they can get an initial stun off before that BKB actually gets popped, they might be able to bring him down. He's going to replicate it with the disruption coming out from Aramis. Setups for an easy LSA. Fisher comes out there from Tiger to try and delay it, but it's still not enough to keep Insania alive. I said relocate, but just the bot CP is what I meant to say. There ain't no IO in this game, people, don't worry. I'm not imagining heroes, I promise. So Mickey, looks like he's finally got his BKB online. He's coming in on the courier now. Toby with his own BKB up. Aramis has even gone for a Blink Dagger himself, just to be able to initiate in these fights a bit better. So Koifer's actually queued up the AC as his next item. Got that Hyperstone on the bear to make him ramp up a little bit more of his damage. Liquid would have gone for the lunch break play. Cheeky smoke. Get it? Perfect scan though there by Viking. They spot this play coming out. They'll be able to react accordingly. They're going to just completely head the opposite direction. And it's actually going to save their lives. So whoever scanned that, top-notch play. Don't show yourself, Slurry. Smart man. He knows not to show himself. I mean, Liquid, they really needed to find something with that play, but they end up only catching dust. Yeah, Scardy online. Yep, Scardy online for Shad now. Spectre is just getting real damn fat. Oh, Toby, leading the charge up top. He actually gets a nice double cross onto Mickey and Insania. Special Hawk comes in from Shad. He's trying to focus down Tiger as much as he can. Tiger's dropping low. They don't have any rev to actually find him. Mickey's dropping pretty low just from the right clicks. And Tiger actually ends up falling just from the AoE damage. Insania also fell to Shad. I think it might have just been his illusion that got the kill. So another 3 kills going towards Viking. Further in that goal lead, further in that XP lead. And once again, Koifer not actually involved in this fight. He just has to run to the opposite side of the map to try and find something. He's nearly got the AC online. 300, 200, 600. So he's about 675 gold away from finishing up that AC. So at least they'll have that soonish. Meanwhile, Viking this move straight into the Roshan Pit. It falls so quickly. With the corrosive haze coming out from Toby, level 3. This is minus 20 armor on the Rosh. Even that big tanky boy just can't survive against that. So it looks like AC finished up now for Koifer. And it looks like in Liquid they want to try and make a play happen with this. It's the only actual big power spike that they're going to have for quite a while. Mickey's still miles away from any sort of item that he wants to go for next. Tiger queued up the Shadow Blade. Just so he can find a way to actually find a decent dunk in these fights. Because every single time he gets found out by the Spectral Haunt, he just drops so easily. Looks like Boom and Toby, they actually see Koifer. There's a high ground ward here. Aramis with Blink Dagger forward. They get disrupted onto him. Going to set up for the LSA. He manages to get the true form off just in time, but even still, there's a lot of damage coming out from the rest of Viking.gg, and Koifer will still fall. Tiger came in to try and lend a helping hand, but he gets slowed by Soleri, and he drops. Even Mickey gets found out now. Shad straight on top of him. Toby comes in for lend a little helping hand. This is absolute disaster for Liquid. Just Viking, every single time anyone on the side of Liquid shows their face, they immediately collapse on top of them and just bring them to their knees. I mean, the game state for Viking in the previous game, it didn't seem as bad as this, and yet they tapped out, so we may see that from Liquid come out soon, potentially. But I think Liquid, they're the sort of team that just likes to carry on playing to the end. They won't just sort of tap out of this sort of part. But, I mean, it's definitely looking really rough for them. The only sort of big teamfight ultimate they have to play around is the ultimate from the Earthshaker, but even still, it's pretty difficult to just try and find a big key jump, because Vikings playing so well. There's not been a time where all of them are grouped up into one big area. Boxy, he jumps forward, he finds Soleri, but he actually, Soleri dodges some with the Glimmer Cape there. Meanwhile, jump forward from Boxy, from Toby, finds the kill onto Insania. Now Boxy gets caught up, just the right clicks from Boom, so it's so much damage to him. Mickey, he's trying to fight back Toby as much as he can, but Toby finally pops his BKB, just laying into Tiger now. Nothing he can do to survive that. Now changes targets onto Mickey himself. But Toby just keeps the charge going forwards. Does not see a reason to turn around. Shad even comes in with a Spectral Haunt now. Mickey's going to fall. Boxy's going to fall. And Liquid, they call it. They will just GG out. Never mind. They're not going to play against the end. Forget everything I just said. They don't want any more of that. That was a pretty brutal game to go up against. It just did not seem like they were going to find anything in this game. Only having 7 kills in 29 minutes. It was pretty rough for him, not going to lie. Just unfortunately, it just seemed like Boxy couldn't quite get fast enough. Despite that he actually had a pretty good start in the early portions of the game up against Toby. He was top of that CS chart for a really long time, but he just could not quite find the farm, especially once Boom started rotating around. It just made the map so damn difficult to actually farm up. And especially with how they managed to focus down Mickey every single time, just in the mid lane. I think he died 3 times. He just could not get his farm up. And it ends up costing them the whole game. So really well played there by Viking. They take the series. They don't take the series. They take the game, and they put the series to 1-1 now. So they've broken the momentum that will be coming out from Liquid. They've made it an even board state. So now they did that mental reset. They collected themselves, and it's worked out for them. So we'll see if Liquid can now respond and take the 3rd game and try and bring themselves back into this. But we'll have to wait and see. Definitely should be an exciting match, because that was definitely a good one. Even though it was quite heavily one-sided, favouring Viking for a large portion of it, it was just nice to see such clean Dota. They played it really damn well. It's good stuff to see. But if you guys have enjoyed my content so far and you want to watch more, then please carry on watching this series. There'll be another game coming up. But also think about following me on Twitter, Twitch or YouTube. I post on Twitter just to announce what games I'm going to be casting, which, for various tournaments. So if you have enjoyed the content that I've been able to provide, then yeah, please think about following me in future games, and hopefully I'll see you guys in the next game. See you later.